What is up, Hot Wheels racing fans? You're watching the NASCAR Nitro Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel. And today we got a special treat for you, the 24 Laps of LeMans Modified Edition. If you're here to see how your team did in the NFL draft, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to race some cars. They probably didn't do better than the Eagles anyway. The stock sure did put on a show on the fastest fat track in motorsports. 27 of the biggest, heaviest modified cars in Redline Derby history. The top 9 finishers of the stocks race. That's right, we are mixing the stock and mod classes. We're using the top X finishers of the stocks race as field fillers in this one, because that's what they do at Le Mans. And a couple of the builders in the comments section of the last videos said they liked the idea, so that's what I think I'm going to do for the mods races the rest of the season. Segment 1's about to kick off with Burt Buzzard on the pole. He won the pole in a bracket-style tournament. Next to him is Misty G, alongside J-Bo, Giorgio, Lord Shank, and Crazy Ruby, who got 4th place in the stocks race. And Burt Buzzard flies away from everybody else, 5-car length lead. J-Bo takes second, but decides to draft behind Burt Buzzard again. He is just that fast. Lord Shank loses a spot there. Misty G tries to make a move for first place, but her drafting partner, Giorgio, gets loose and almost loses 4th place there. And whether you're J-Bo or whether you're Misty G, nobody seems to have an answer for Burt Buzzard halfway through the first segment. And another great launch for Burt Buzzard, a half a track segment lead before they even get to the fat track. And it has just been the Burt Buzzard show, dominating this whole race. And now it's time for the final lap. Burt Buzzard has been so dominant so far, and it's not going to change here. Burt Buzzard's got a car length and a half lead over Misty G. Make that 2 or 3 car lengths, and he'll push his ticket to the main event. And now it's time for segment number 2. We have Clyde next to Burt Buzzard's teammate Harry Hoon, Gray, Christy, Sparky Racer, and Isaac from Puffs Racing, one of the stocks. And we have a really tight pack here. Looks like Gray stole 2nd place from Harry Hoon, and Christy preserved 4th place by blocking the rest of the field. And it looks like the inside lane got a great jump from the start there. Harry Hoon taking 2nd back. Nobody's got anything for Clyde, though. These 2 T-Bird stalkers are running away with the race so far. They were the 2 pole finalists that on a track that rewards straight out speed, these 2 guys are running away with the first 2 segments. But look at that utter dogfight between Gray and Harry Hoon. If we take a look at the replay cam here, they are side by side heading into the fat track. Harry gets a bit of a bump draft from Christie, and it's enough to put him past Gray for 2nd place heading into lap 4. And now it is time for the 4th and final lap. These T-Bird stalkers have been dominant all race long, and he'll have the heavy cars giving him that boost, but it's not like he needs it. He's got a 3-car length lead heading into the fat track, and Clyde will punch his ticket to the main event for the 3rd time in 3 races. Now it's time for segment number 3. They shoot out the gate before I could even finish introducing them. And Gaz is flying away from Charlie Verney and cautions out for an El Reco. Our very first DNF of the day after 2 segments of squeaky clean racing, and it's Sloppy Bear. Lap 1 DNF, possibly clinched last place with that. And Gaz is flying away with this one again. The Barora Bangers are dominant. Mike Honcho moves to 2nd place. And Charlie Verney beaches himself on the wall after starting that lap on the front row. Gaza leads the field down for lap number 3. He's getting pushed by Chase Elliott, who is driving Clyde stock, because Clyde's also in the race. And that inside row just blows past Mike Honcho and the Owlman to line up 1, 2, 3, heading into the final lap. And the gates are down for the final lap, and Charlie Verney is bump drafting his way to 2nd place after beaching himself on the wall. And what a drive for Charlie Verney. We're going to show that last lap again. He almost tries to take the lead there. Gaza moves on to the main event. Charlie Verney to the 2nd race. And Mike Honcho sunk like a rock on that lap all the way back. And now for segment number 4. We have Heather, our Daytona 500 winner, on the front row. Next to her is Po' Boy. Behind them is Heather's teammates, Bobby Allison and William, with 2 of the stocks that got the top 9 in the stocks race. Richie, our race winner, and Sawyer, a very Uncle Elvis racing heavy segment here. 3 out of the 4 full-time cars, plus 1 of the field fillers. And the gates are down, and Bobby Allison gets loose immediately, beaches himself on the track divider. Heather and Po' Boy are going at it really closely with no help from the rest of the field. We're going to show you that one again. It was such a close lap. If you take a look here, Po' Boy actually has about a car length lead from the outside. Heather closes in a little bit, but it is not enough to lead that one. Now it's time for lap number 2. Po' Boy leads the field down to green from the top spot. Gets a great push from Bobby Allison. Are we sensing a bit of mutiny among the Uncle Elvis ranks? Bobby and Heather are racing side by side behind Po' Boy as he throws a masterful block on both of them to lead lap number 2. And now it is time for lap number 3. And it's become a three-way battle for the lead between Po' Boy, Heather, and Bobby Allison. They settled down a bit on that lap, crossing the finish line all in a row. And now it's time for the final lap. And take a look at William coming from nowhere in the back row to try and fight his teammate for third. Heather tries to throw a block and William flips her off the track. Did you see that? William doesn't back off. He just digs deep under his teammate, punts her over the wall, makes her flip in the air. She's lucky that's not an El Reco, but that is on the last lap. Just a brutal hit. Almost looks like mutiny forming among the Uncle Elvis ranks. And then he hits his other teammate, pseudo-teammate Sawyer at the end there too. It will not be a pleasant day for William back at the Uncle Elvis headquarters tomorrow. And now it's time for the next segment. We got Lord Raymond lined up next to Bill Bubb, and Gavin McSplage is behind him. And Gavin beats Bill for the second place spot in that first lap with Elton Sawyer and two of the stocks in the back. And this is a key matchup to watch between Bill Z. Bubb and Gavin. And it looks like Bill's got the upper hand for lap number 2. Gavin McSplage moves to third. Not much movement in the back between Morgan Shepherd and Rusty Wallace. Congratulations for your first podium, Mark Russell, to get into this. It is another segment of domination by Lord Raymond. Look at the pack tighten up behind him. Gavin McSplage makes it out of that mess in second place. And Elton Sawyer barely hangs on to third. Bill almost gets beached on the divider. That's a near disaster for him, and he manages to recover. And now he's knocking on the door of Lord Raymond to take the lead, but it's too little too late. Lord Raymond to the main event. Bill Z. Bubb to the seconds race, and Gavin McSplage to the thirds. Now for the very last segment, we have Gale Force, last race's winner. Next to her is Lucky Jackson for Po' Boy Racing. Behind them, Riot Isaac and Puff for Puffs Racing. And finally in the back row, two of the stocks, that's Skeeter Davis and Jimbo Rockford. And boy, is it a tight one heading into the fat track. Gale Force neck and neck with Lucky Jackson, and Riot Isaac got in the mix there at the last second, but Lucky Jackson held him off, and there's no change for lap number 2. And this looks like the same story here. This time it's a bit more spread out. Gale Force with about a car length lead, and Lucky Jackson and Riot Isaac did more blocking than anything else for that lap. Still no change in position heading into lap number 3. And the gates are down. If you look at the battle for third, Puff trying to make a move for third place there. And across the finish line goes a big heap of cars all piled up. No room between first and sixth. Gale Force blocked the rest of the field to hold on to first place, but we got to slow that down and see how the positions went. And would you look at that? All that action just for no change in position again. Now it is time for the final lap of segment racing. And take a look at Skeeter Davis making a move for fourth place after crossing into the fat track. He doesn't get there in time. It'll be Gale Force going to the main event, and no position changes at all in that segment. Almost like a Formula One race in that regard. And now it's time for the 6th race. Heather is just running away from this, and she just drags that whole inside lane past Lord Shank, who falls all the way back to 4th from 2nd. Next to Heather for lap 2 is Jimbo Rockford. That's right, this is the 6th race. We only had one DNF all throughout segment racing, and Heather will be moving on to the 5th race. And on the front row of the 5th race, we have Giorgio and Elton Sawyer, followed by Sparky Racer and Mike Honcho. The stocks of Richie and Skeeter Davis, followed by our 6th race winner, Heather. And Heather got flipped from 2nd to 6th on the final lap of her segment. She's not happy with her teammate, William, and she is pushing that entire inside lane past the outside to get a better spot for lap number 2. Almost passes Richie for 3rd, but he slams the door shut on her at the last second. And look at Giorgio take off. He is saying, not today. I want to get into the 4th race. He opens up a bigger and bigger lead, wins by almost 3 car lengths. And there's a little dust up between Mike Honcho and Skeeter Davis there. Don't know what they're fighting about. They didn't really hit each other. Needless to say, that brings us to our 4th race. On the front row is William and the Owlman, followed by Puff and Christy. G-Force Racing, couple of stocks, and Christy's teammate Giorgio, the 5th race winner. And look at Puff and William, bump drafting away from the rest of the pack there. And Puff hooks William, shoves him to the side, and leads lap 1. If you look, they are so far ahead of the rest of the pack, and Puff just destroys Williams' back bumper. He can't do anything about it. Beats him to the line by little more than a bumper lane. Now he'll be lining up in first place in the 4th race. He was hoping for a better result. As you know, William wrecked his own teammate to try and move up to 2nd, and it backfired on him. And look at that instant karma for William. Being railroaded by everybody, even a stock. Puff breezes his way on that second lap to the thirds race. On the front row, we have Harry Hoon and Jay Bowe, followed by Gavin McSplage and Riot Isaac. The stocks of Chase Elliott, driving Clyde stock alongside Sawyer. And your fourth race winner, Puff, and looks like Harry Hoon's got that first lap in the bag. A half a track segment lead. Gavin McSplage moves up a spot. Puff moves up from 7th to 3rd. An incredible run by him, but and look at these front four cars. So much tighter than the last lap. Gavin McSplage making a last-ditch attempt. Not enough juice at the end there. Harry Hoon will be moving on to the seconds race. Got to give Puff some props, too, for putting up a bunch of spots there. And here is your lineup for the seconds race. We have Misty G, who's quickly becoming Puff's flagship driver, followed by Lucky Jackson and Gray, whose car is red, Charlie Verney, Bobby Allison, and your third race winner, Harry Hoon. And it's a tight pack in the back, and that is what Misty G loves to see. Breezes away with the lead on the first lap. Bobby Allison gets tangled up on the guardrail. He's finished 13th in both of his starts now, and Misty G is going to run away with this. A little bit of a challenge from Bill Z Bub, but a little too late, which means another trip to the main event for Misty G. Joining her is your pole sitter, Burt Buzzard. Next to him is Clyde and those lightning fast T-Bird stalkers, the Barora Bangers on the inside row, alongside Lord Raymond and Po Boy. And that Australian inside lane gets a draft for the ages and flies past Clyde on the outside. Gaza almost comes away with the lead, but it's not enough at the last minute. Burt Buzzard's going to lead him down again for lap number 2. Gale Force and Po Boy get a little squirrely there. Gale Force recovers a lot better than Po Boy does, but nobody seems to have anything for Burt Buzzard. Not in his segment, not in this main event either. Pretty much all these guys except for Po Boy are higher than him in the points, and they have no answer for him today. He's got over a car length lead for lap number 3. And now it's time for the final lap. Can Burt Buzzard hold on for one more lap? Or will it be Clyde looking for his first career win, or one of the Barora Bangers, or will it be one of these other guys? Lord Raymond and Misty G have been knocking on the door in both races, and Po Boy's hoping this will turn into a nice momentum shift for his season. The gates are down and they are off, and look at that Australian freight train. Just make it look way too easy, like Jordan Mailata's pushing them or something. And Burt Buzzard gets his first ever NASCAR Nitro Series victory at Le Mans. Gaza holds off his teammate for second place. That's the back-to-back seconds for him. Back-to-back podiums for the whole Barora Bangers team. This isn't just Burt Buzzard's first win. It's his first top 5 finish that vaults him up 3 spots in the point standings. And congratulations to Mark D, one of our very first supporters. Cut Rock Creek Racing's very first win on the channel. And here's a look at your top 10. Burt Buzzard, Gale Force, Lord Raymond, Clyde, Misty G, and Po Boy got beached on the last lap there. Bill Z Bub, Lucky Jackson, and Gray rounds it out. Now looking further into the field, we have a couple other guys from the seconds race. Charlie Verney, Harry Hoon, Bobby Allison. Gavin McSplage got 14th for the second race in a row. Puff Salvage 15th. Chase Elliott, the emergency driver for Clyde stock, was the highest finishing stock in 16th. And here are some of the drivers at DNF who just got bad luck in their segments. Positions 25 through 36. Sloppy Bear, the only DNF of the race. Props to all the drivers for clean racing. Well, most of the drivers for clean racing. And here are your point standings. Would you look at that? 15 points. Separates first place from 5th. Gale Force with that podium takes over the points lead. And the 200 points from that win moves Burt Buzzard up into championship contention. And the next 2 slides are going to be 11 through 20 and 21 through 30. Most of the other mail-in mods are going to be on this list. And we got Po Boy, both of Demon Preacher's cars, both of Po Boy's cars. Big focus here has to be on William and Heather, tied for points after that on-track incident. That is sure going to be one long, awkward flight back to the Estados Unidos. And the perfect venue to settle it once and for all at Martinsville. Here's 21 through 30, where we're starting to run into guys who were field fillers or missed the race. Like Casey Kane, like for whatever reason got hung up on the track. And here we have mostly field fillers and Chef Squid. Chef Squid's getting a new car, just like the cars that Puff and Mark D are sending in. If you want to send cars in, if you want to send in a replacement for a car you're not happy with, send it to HSL Diecast, P.O. Box 7, Wingate, PA 18091. It'll be sent back with your main team alongside everything else. Now, I like to have 3 or 4 videos filmed in advance before I upload these, so the new cars that are already coming, the mods will make their debut at Martinsville, and the stocks will make their debut at the road course. Not sure which road course, whether it's going to be Sonoma or Watkins Glen, whichever one I use. It'll be like nothing you've seen before on this channel, I can guarantee you that. And don't ever forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.